Emily was the kind of girl who always played by the rules. 19, painfully shy, and still untouched by love or anything close to it. Her world was small. University lectures, late-night coffee with her best friend Zoe, and long walks home with music loud enough to drown out her racing thoughts. She'd never been kissed, never even held a boy's hand without sweating through her palm. Zoe, on the other hand, was fire, loud, wild, and unapologetically magnetic. She had a line of admirers she barely acknowledged, and she didn't care much about who watched her or what people whispered behind her back. It was Zoe who first noticed him. There's this guy," she said one day, tapping her nails on her iced latte. "He's been showing up everywhere. Cafeteria, library, even my psych class, and he's not enrolled." Emily blinked. "What do you mean?" Zoe shrugged. "I mean, he's creepy as hell. Looks like he stepped out of a noir film. All black, sharp jaw, eyes that don't blink. He just watches." Emily felt a chill even in the warmth of the coffee shop. "That's not funny, Zoe. I'm not joking." From then on, Emily noticed him too. At first, just flashes, a silhouette leaning against the railings outside their dorm, a figure slipping into the background during a student union event. Always on the edge of her vision, just enough to make her question if he'd been there at all. But the night it changed forever was the night Emily couldn't sleep. She walked to the common room in her hoodie and socks, hoping some tea might calm her nerves. That's when she saw him. Standing just beyond the window under the broken streetlight, watching, waiting for Zoe. Except Zoe was gone for the weekend, and Emily stepped closer to the glass. He saw her. And instead of walking away, he smiled. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't friendly. It was curious. Like she was something he hadn't expected to see. She should have run, should have screamed, but her feet stayed rooted. For the next few days, she didn't see him. And part of her missed the feeling, the thrill of being noticed. Then one evening, as she was leaving the library alone, a voice behind her said softly, "Or not like her." Emily spun, heart thudding. It was him, tall, dark, and standing just a little too close. "What?" she whispered. "Or not like Zoe." Her mouth went dry. "You know her?" His eyes bored into hers. "I know everything." She should have screamed. She didn't. Instead, she asked, "Who are you?" He tilted his head, a faint smirk dancing on his lips. "You'll find out." But not yet. And then he disappeared into the night, leaving her shaken, breathless, and strangely, dangerously intrigued. Emily couldn't sleep that night. Her heart wouldn't slow down. The way he looked at her, like he knew something she didn't, lingered in her mind like a song you can't shake. She told herself it was stupid, dangerous. But still, she didn't feel scared the way she thought she would. The next morning, Zoe was back. Emily watched her dump her overnight bag on the floor, fling her shoes off, and collapse on the bed without a care in the world. For a moment, Emily hesitated. Then she asked, "Have you seen him again?" Zoe's eyes flicked open. "The stalker?" Emily nodded. Nope. Maybe he finally got bored of following me around. She said it like a joke, but there was something in her voice, tight and bitter. Emily didn't mention the night before. She wanted to. But something inside her whispered to keep it to herself. Over the next few days, the sightings grew. Not of him, of little things. A single red flower on her dorm doorstep. A folded note in her locker. You don't belong in her shadow. There was no name, no explanation. Emily told herself it could be anyone, a prank, a mistake. But deep down, she knew, it was him. She should have told someone. She didn't. And then she saw him again. This time, it was daylight. She was in the bookstore, fingers trailing over old hardcovers she couldn't afford, when she felt his presence behind her before she even turned. "You like sad books," he said quietly. Emily froze. "They're honest," she answered, surprising herself. He stepped closer, his voice calm but low. "You're not afraid of me, are you?" She looked up at him. His eyes weren't soft, but they weren't cruel either, just intense. "I should be," she said. "But you're not." No," she whispered. "I'm not." He smiled, not smug, not smug, not smug, not sweet, just knowing. "I'm Aiden," he said finally. The name sent a tremor through her. It made him real, not just a shadow, not just Zoe's mystery man, Emily. "I know. Of course he did." That night, Emily didn't mention Aiden to Zoe again. The guilt weighed on her, like she was stealing something, but how could she explain it? That the man who once stalked her best friend now looked at her like she mattered, that his attention made her feel like she wasn't invisible anymore. But something darker twisted inside her too. What did he want? Why her? She found herself writing about him in her journal. Not about the danger. About the way his voice sounded, about how he looked at her like he saw her whole. She'd never felt that before, not from anyone. Not even Zoe, for all their years of closeness. Days passed and the connection grew. She would find him in places she didn't expect. Outside the music hall after her piano practice. In the back corner of the coffee shop she thought only she knew. Always at a distance. Always watching. Until one night, he wasn't distant at all. He stood by her door. Her heart slammed against her ribs as she opened it, half in fear, half in something far more dangerous. "I need to talk to you," he said. "About Zoe." Emily's throat tightened. Why? Because everything you think you know about her is a lie. Emily's fingers clenched the edge of the door. She wasn't sure if it was her heartbeat or the silence that made the room feel like it was about to collapse. Aiden stepped inside without waiting for permission, and she didn't stop him. He didn't look around like most people would. No curiosity about her books, her bed, or the fairy lights tangled on her wall. His eyes were on her. Only her. "What do you mean, a lie?" she asked, her voice tight. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, calm, calculated. "I followed Zoe because I thought she was like me," he said. She pretends to be this confident, wild, nothing bothers me girl, but that's just the mask. Underneath, she's dangerous." Emily frowned. "You don't even know her." "I know more than you think." Aiden's voice dropped. "I saw what she did last summer at that house party. The boy in the red jacket." Emily blinked. "What about him?" "He didn't just disappear." Aiden paused, watching her face. She ruined him. Emily stepped back. "You're lying." "I'm not," he said. He was her ex. She was obsessed with him. When he left her, she snapped. Spread things. Lies. She got him expelled. His parents moved. He lost everything. Emily shook her head. "Oh no, Zoe wouldn't. Wouldn't she?" He cut in. "Think about how she is when someone crosses her. How easily she flips on people." Emily couldn't deny that Zoe could be cruel, even with her. She'd seen flashes of it, mocking other girls for no reason, ghosting people once she got bored of them. But this? No, this was different. This was serious. "Why are you telling me this?" Emily asked. Because you need to know what kind of person you're loyal to. You're not like her. You don't lie. You feel things. Real things." Emily's stomach twisted. "I didn't plan this," Aiden continued, voice softening. "You weren't supposed to matter. But you do." That scared her more than anything he'd said so far. "I'm not sure if I believe you," she whispered. "You don't have to," he replied. Just watch her, really watch. You'll see it." Then he left as silently as he came. The days that followed were filled with tension. Zoe was her usual self, loud, wild, glowing with effortless charm. But now Emily saw things she hadn't before. She noticed how Zoe lied so easily, about where she'd been, who she was with. She watched how Zoe flirted with a professor just to get an extension, then laughed about how pathetic he was the moment he walked away. And one night, Emily found Zoe's journal by accident. She shouldn't have read it, but she did. There were pages about the boy in the red jacket. And a list. Sewed, names crossed out, words like leverage, weakness, and done with him scrawled in the margins. Emily stared at the pages like they were covered in blood. Maybe Aiden wasn't lying. But what did that mean for her? For them? The next time she saw Aiden, it was Emily who found him, sitting alone on the steps outside the old theater building. "Read her journal," she said quietly. He looked up, face unreadable. "You were right." Aiden didn't smile. He just nodded once. "I'm sorry you had to see that." Emily sat beside him. Oh, Subidzi. For a moment they didn't speak. Then he said, "You deserve better friends." She looked at him and before she could stop herself said, "I don't want to be your project." He turned to her slowly. "You're not." And for the first time, she believed him. Far. Still, something deep inside whispered that whatever this was, it was far from simple. or safe. Emily woke up the next morning with a strange weight in her chest. Her phone buzzed Zoe as usual with some meme, a half-formed plan to skip class, and a cryptic message that read, "You've been weird lately. Something I should know?" Emily didn't reply. She couldn't pretend everything was the same. Not now. Not after the journal. Not after Aiden. She spent the day watching people. Watching Zoe. Listening to the careless laughter, the fake affection in her voice, the way she manipulated everyone like they were chess pieces on a board, only she could see. It wasn't hate Emily felt. It was grief. Grief for the friend she thought she knew. Later that evening, she met Aiden again behind the music building, where no one ever went after dark. There was a quiet between them now. Something unspoken but heavy. Something real. "You were close, weren't you?" she asked, arms crossed tight over her chest. He didn't need her to explain what she meant. "Yes," he said, "but not like this. I watched her because I was trying to figure out why she hurt people, why someone like her could get away with so much. And then I saw you." Emily felt her heart flip. "I didn't want to drag you into this," he continued. "But once I saw how you looked at her like she could never do wrong, I couldn't stay quiet anymore." Emily whispered, "Do you think she knows?" Aiden's eyes darkened. She suspects, but she doesn't know about us." Us, the word hit her like a wave. "I don't even know what we are," she said, voice trembling. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell the faint scent of smoke and rain on his jacket. "We're the only honest thing in a sea of lies." She didn't stop him when he reached out to touch her cheek. She didn't flinch when he leaned in close enough to feel the breath between them. But he didn't kiss her. He just whispered, "Not yet." Back at the dorm, Emily found Zoe sitting cross-legged on her bed, staring at her with that too bright smile. It made her stomach twist. "Where have you been?" Zoe asked. "A library. A liar." Emily froze. Zoe laughed, flipping her hair over her shoulder. "Relax, I'm just kidding. Kind of. You have been acting weird. Quiet. Moody. Is it a guy?" Emily forced a laugh. "I know, just school stuff." Zoe tilted her head, the smile slipping just enough to show a crack. "You sure you'd tell me if something was going on, right?" Emily nodded, too quickly. "Huh? Good," Zoe said. Because if I ever found out someone was lying to me, especially someone I trusted, I don't know what I'd do." There it was. The chill, the threat hidden in her honey-sweet voice. Emily excused herself, pretending to go to the bathroom. Her hands were shaking. She pulled out her phone and texted Aiden. "I think she knows. She's watching me." His reply came fast. "Then you need to be careful. If Zoe feels cornered, she won't just hurt you emotionally." Emily stared at the screen, a cold sweat breaking across her back, and then her door creaked open. Zoe stood there, not smiling this time. Her eyes locked on Emily's phone. "Who's Aiden?" she asked. Emily's stomach dropped. Her phone slipped slightly in her hand, and she tried to lock the screen, but it was too late. Zoe had seen the name. "Aiden?" Zoe's voice was still calm, but there was an edge to it, sharp and rising. Emily swallowed. "He's just someone I met." Zoe took a slow step into the room, shutting the door behind her with a soft click. "Oh, funny. Because that's the same name as the guy who's been stalking me. The one I told you about, the one I said gave me chills. And now you're talking to him." Emily backed up a little. "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Emily?" Zoe's eyes narrowed, her voice shaking now. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks a hell of a lot like betrayal." You don't understand." No," she snapped. "You don't understand. I trusted you. You were the one person I thought would never go behind my back. And now I find out you're texting him?" Emily's voice cracked. "Melinda is trying to protect you." Zoe laughed, bitter and short. Protect me? From what? From the creepy guy who follows me around but apparently makes you feel special?" Emily stepped forward. "You hurt people, Zoe. I've seen it." The journal. Zoe's face went pale for a second, then cold and cold. "You read my journal? I didn't mean to." "But you did. And now you think you know me?" Her voice was pure venom now. "You don't know anything, Emily. You want to feel superior, like you're the good girl who caught the bad friend. But you're not a saint. You're a traitor." Emily shook her head. Anoe shook her head. "You just what?" Zoe interrupted. I fell in love with a guy who used to watch me, who probably only noticed you because I didn't give him what he wanted. The words sliced into Emily. That's not true. Zoe's eyes glinted. Are you sure? Or do you just need a not to be? Silence sat thick in the room. Then Zoe stepped back, picked up her phone, and said, "You know what? I hope he breaks you." She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just walked out, and the sound of the door closing behind her was quieter than it should have been. It still felt like a gunshot. Emily didn't sleep. She lay in the dark, phone clutched in her hand, wondering what came next. Wondering if she'd just lost the one person who'd ever truly been close to her, but also wondering if she'd ever really known Zoe at all. Aiden messaged her just after 2 a.m. "Are you okay?" She stared at the screen before replying. She knows. She read my face like a book. Another message came. "You need to get out of there. It's not safe." "Oh, what do you mean?" She's not the type to cry it out. She's the type to destroy what she can't control. Emily didn't want to believe that, but deep down she already knew it was true. The next day, Zoe didn't speak to her. Worse, Zoe smiled, laughed with their classmates, pretended everything was fine. That smile was a blade, and Emily could feel it pressing against her neck. Then it started. Someone leaked Emily's old messages. DM, private rants, diary-like texts she'd sent Zoe years ago, now screenshotted and posted in vague, context-twisting ways. She was called a snake, a jealous freak, a liar. One by one, the people around her started avoiding her, whispering, looking at her like she was a monster. It was happening. Just like Aiden warned her, by the end of the week, Emily had become a ghost on campus. No one said anything directly to her. Zoe was smarter than that. But the look spoke louder than words. The conversations that stopped when she entered a room, the fake smiles, the whispers behind her back. They cut deeper than shouting ever could. The screenshots circulating were carefully chosen. Emily's old frustrations vented in private to Zoe, now twisted and weaponized. A message from freshman year saying, "Oh, sometimes I wish I was her instead of me," had been turned into proof that Emily was obsessed. Another, where she vented about how exhausting Zoe could be, was framed as a confession of betrayal. Aiden's messages had been left out. Of course. He was invisible in all of this. And yet, he was the only one who reached out. He met her at the abandoned garden behind the old math building. A place overgrown with ivy and silence. She didn't even have to say anything. He saw the bags under her eyes, the weight dragging her shoulders down, and just pulled her into a hug. "I'm so sorry," he murmured. Emily held on to him like he was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. "She's turning everyone against me. I know. I don't even think she's mad about you. I think she's mad I don't need her anymore." Aiden nodded slowly. "She needs control, loyalty, worship. You took that away." Emily pulled back, brushing a tear off her cheek. "I don't know what to do." "You fight back." She laughed, bitter and broken. "With what? No one believes me." Aiden looked her dead in the eye. "Then make them believe you." Emily stared at him, unsure. How? He hesitated. "There's a video." Her stomach clenched. "What kind of video?" "From that party. The one last summer. Her ex, the one she ruined. He recorded everything. What she said. What she did." So Emily's mouth went dry. "You've seen it?" He nodded. "It proves everything." "Then why haven't you shown anyone?" "Because it's not mine to show. It's his. And he's terrified of her." Emily shook her head. "We need to find him." "I already did." He handed her a scrap of paper with a name and number scribbled on it. "If you call him," Aiden said, "you have to be prepared. This will destroy her, and you'll never be able to go back." Emily stared at the paper, heart pounding. I don't want to go back. That night, Emily called the number. The voice on the other end was cautious, defensive. But when she explained who she was, and that Aiden had told her everything, there was a long silence. "I'm tired of being scared," the boy finally said. "If she's doing it to someone else, it's time." He sent the video. Emily watched it with trembling hands. Zoe, drunk and angry, cornering the boy in a bedroom. Her words slurred but cruel. Threats, lies, bragging about what she could do to his life if he didn't give her what she wanted. It was worse than Emily imagined. The next morning, Emily uploaded the video to an anonymous student confessions page. No captions, no comments, just the truth. By noon, it had over 20,000 views. By 2, the university launched a formal investigation. By 4, Zoe was gone, vanished, just like that. But something didn't sit right with Emily. It wasn't just relief that washed over her, it was fear, because Zoe didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't even try to clear her name. She just disappeared. Emily had imagined a dozen different reactions from Zoe. She thought there'd be raged, screaming matches in the hallways, dramatic posts online, maybe even a tearful apology laced with venom. But what she didn't expect was silence. Total, eerie silence. Zoe deactivated her social media within an hour of the video's explosion. She didn't show up to her dorm stream. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Her friends claimed they hadn't seen her since that morning, but something about their nervous eyes and tight lips told Emily they were lying or scared. And for the first time, Emily realized what scared her most wasn't what Zoe had done. It was what she might do next. She met Aiden again the next evening, this time at his apartment just off campus. It was the first time she saw where he lived. The space was small, quiet, and surprisingly clean. Minimalist, almost sterile. He handed her tea without saying a word and sat beside her on the couch, their knees barely touching. "She's gone," Emily said. "I know." She didn't fight. Aiden stared into his mug. "That's not good." Emily frowned. Because it means she's planning something bigger. She's not the kind to lose quietly." Emily's throat tightened. "I don't know if I can do this, Aiden." He looked at her then, really looked. Yes, you can. You already have." But even as he said it, Emily could feel a crack forming inside her. Aiden had become her anchor, but even anchors could drag you down if the storm was strong enough. That night she stayed at his place, not because they crossed any romantic line, but because she couldn't bear to be alone. Not with Zoe out there, somewhere in the shadows. She didn't sleep much. And when she did, her dreams were full of knocking, heavy, urgent, like someone trying to break into her mind. The knock came for real the next morning. Aiden was in the shower. Emily pulled on his hoodie and opened the door, thinking it was maybe a delivery. But it wasn't. It was a package. No return address, just her name. Emily looked around. No one. She brought it inside, heart pounding. The box was small, neat. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was something she hadn't seen in years. A photo of her and Zoe, freshman year, arms slung around each other, smiling like the world hadn't touched them yet. But someone had drawn a red X over Emily's face. Beneath the photo was a note, handwritten in black ink. "You may have exposed me, but you forgot one thing. I know every secret you've ever told." And underneath that? A copy of Emily's old diary pages, real ones ripped from her private notebooks. Ones she hadn't seen since they'd gone missing months ago. Ones only Zoe ever had access to. Emily dropped the papers, her breath catching in her throat. Her phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. She backed away from the table like the note might catch fire. When Aiden came out, dripping and wrapped in a towel, he found her sitting on the floor shaking. "She's not finished," Emily whispered. Aiden picked up the note. His jaw clenched. "Oh no, she's just getting started." He looked at Emily with something close to fear in his eyes. "You need to leave campus," he said. Now. Emily didn't pack much. A single bag, tossed together in panic, some clothes, her journal, the necklace her mom gave her when she graduated high school. Everything else could burn for all she cared. She wasn't running away. She was getting ahead, escaping the explosion she knew was coming. Aiden drove her out of the city. He didn't ask where they were going. He just kept his eyes on the road, both hands clenched on the wheel, like the car was the only thing keeping him from falling apart. They drove for hours until the buildings gave way to trees and silence. They ended up at a rundown lakeside cabin owned by Aiden's cousin, who owed him a favor and happened to be out of town. It was isolated, quiet. Too quiet. Emily spent her first night there watching the water ripple under moonlight, heart thudding with every leaf that moved. Her phone stayed dark. No messages, no threats. But that didn't bring peace. It brought dread, because the storm hadn't hit yet. The next morning it did. A message, anonymous number, a link to a post, a long, scathing blog titled, The Virgin Girl Who Betrayed Everyone. Emily clicked with trembling fingers. It was everything. Her secrets, her insecurities, her fears, the contents of her stolen diaries, word for word, photos, screenshots, even audio, all twisted to make her look obsessive, manipulative, broken, like she was the villain, like Zoe was the real victim. It was cruel, surgical, and it was going viral. She threw the phone across the room and screamed. Aiden found her on the floor, shaking, eyes wild. She ruined me, Emily choked out. Wars? I'll never recover from this. No one will believe me now. Yes, they will, he said, pulling her into his arms. Because we're going to show them who she really is. I already did, she whispered. And it didn't matter. And then we go further. Emily looked up at him, hollow. How? Aiden's voice was steady, cold. We finish what we started. They contacted Zoe's ex, the one she ruined, the one whose video started this. He wasn't surprised. She always has something left in her back pocket, he said. Oh, but I still have the originals, the stuff I didn't send you. Turns out Zoe had a habit of bragging when she was drunk. Text messages, voicemails, confessions of manipulation, blackmail, even a secret folder where she documented everything she did to people, including Emily. They compiled it all, created a timeline, a documentary-style video. Not anonymous this time. Emily sat in front of the camera and told the truth. No filters, no dramatics, just her voice, calm, clear, devastating. I believed she was my best friend, she said, until I realized I was just another name on her list. They posted it under her real name. The response was immediate support, outrage, disbelief, but now it wasn't directed at her. It was aimed at Zoe. And then silence. Zoe didn't respond, didn't post, didn't defend herself. Because they found her 2 days later. She was hiding at her aunt's house in another state. Someone leaked it. The school expelled her. Her internship dropped her. Her reputation, the one she clung to like armor, shattered overnight. Emily didn't feel joy. She felt nothing. Just the dull ache of a war survived. Back in the cabin, days later, Aiden and Aunt Emily sat by the water again. It's over, he said. Emily shook her head. It'll never be over. Not really. She'll live in people's memories, in every side glance, every rumor. Then we make new memories, he said. She looked at him. Really looked. This wasn't about love anymore. It was about survival, about trust built from ashes. I'm not the same girl I was, she said. Good, he replied. She was never the real you anyway. And finally, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Emily let herself breathe. Not because the past was gone, but because, for the first time, she didn't care if it followed.